Yeah, just turn it like that. Yeah, that's good. That's good. You ready? Nafis, we good to go? We're gonna start, eh? السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد. Marhaban bikum. We welcome you to the beginning of this 3-day event, inshallah, which is titled Life After Life, the Journey of the Soul to the Hereafter. Today, inshallah, we will speak about this specific topic of leaving a legacy. Leaving a legacy. What is a legacy? Maybe someone may ask. And we say that a legacy is the result of your actions once you pass. It's the results of your actions once you pass. So those who passed before us, they left a legacy. And those who passed before us, they left a legacy. So today, inshallah, in around 40 minutes time, we'll talk about leaving a legacy. How a Muslim views that topic, that subject, and what he and she can do about it. So, this is based on the ayah or the verse of the Quran in Surah Yasin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى وَنَكْتُبُ مَا قَدَّمُوا وَآثَارَهُمْ وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ أَحْصَيْنَاهُ فِي إِمَامٍ مُبِينٍ. Allah says what means, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى. Allah speaks of Himself in the royal way to show His grandeur and His majesty. Allah says, surely we shall resurrect the dead. وَنَكْتُبُ مَا قَدَّمُوا. And before that, when you're alive, Allah says, we write what you put forth, meaning your actions. Your actions, minute or large, big or small, your statements, everything is written. Everything is written. وَنَكْتُبُ مَا قَدَّمُوا. And then Allah says, وَآثَارَهُمْ. And their traces, the consequences, the ramifications, the results of their actions are also written. And that is the legacy we want to talk about. وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ أَحْصَيْنَاهُ فِي إِمَامٍ مُبِينٍ. Allah says everything is specifically to the detail written in a clear record. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He writes down, and that is through His angels, what you do when you're alive. And when you're alive and you're dead, the consequences and the effects and the ramifications of those actions which you did to other people. How did your actions affect other people, directly or indirectly, whether you intended or not? And that is what we're trying to see here today. And this is a concept which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned in His Quran in a few verses. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يُنَبَّأُ الْإِنسَانُ يَوْمَئِذٍ بِمَا قَدَّمَ وَأَخَّرَ. يُنَبَّأُ الْإِنسَانُ يَوْمَئِذٍ. On that day of judgment, the humankind, me and you, he shall be informed بِمَا قَدَّمَ, of what you put forth, making your own actions, وَأَخَّرَ, and what you left behind, of the traces and the legacy you left behind. Everything will be shown to you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also said, عَلِمَتْ نَفْسٌ مَا قَدَّمَتْ وَأَخَّرَتْ. عَلِمَتْ نَفْسٌ مَا قَدَّمَتْ وَأَخَّرَتْ. On that day, every soul shall know and shall remember of the action that you put forth and what you left behind, the traces and the legacy you left behind. This is what we're trying to talk about today, guys. It's a concept which all of us, whether you're young or old, you should be aware of. That every action you do, it has a consequence. And the Prophet ﷺ made this clear, that there's a legacy you can leave behind. What we need to understand is that legacy can be good or it can be bad. He said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, مَنْ سَنَّ فِي الْإِسْلَامِ سُنَّةً حَسَنًا. Whoever does in this religion of Islam a good action which he establishes for other people to follow, كَانَ لَهُ أَجْرًا. You'll get the reward of that good action. وَأَجْرَ مَنْ عَمِلَ بِهِ. And the reward of those who do that good action because you did it or because you taught him or her. مِنْ غَيْرِ أَنْ يَنْقُصْ مِنْ أُجُورِهِمْ شَيْءٍ. Without reducing their reward. وَمَنْ سَنَّ فِي الْإِسْلَامِ سُنَّةً سَيِّئَةً. And whoever establishes in Islam a bad action, you are bad and you taught people bad, you show them the avenue of evil, vice, wretched sins, كَانَ لَهُ وِزْرًا. You shall get the sins of that, وَوِزْرَ مَنْ عَمِلَ بِهَا. And the sins of those who did those actions as a consequence of you showing them and teaching them or leaving behind that. Without them putting more sins on you, you'll get sins on you. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says in the Quran, لِيَحْمِلُوا أَثْقَالَهُمْ. Those wrongdoers on the day of judgment, they shall carry their own weight of sins and the weight of those who they misguided. So that's a concept we have to understand. There's a legacy, good or bad. We're here, inshallah, to discuss the good legacy. Each one of us is mature and sane enough to understand or should understand from today, inshallah, this is the only thing you take from tonight, it is well said and enough, that your actions have consequences on other people. They rub off on other people. You leave an impression. That's what a legacy is about. What is the impression? What is the mark you leave on this world? The people around you. By your statements and your actions. You don't think that it's just as simple as I'm going to do what I want. It's not like that. You can, and you'll carry the blame, but you'll carry the blame of those who you affect also. Positive for positive, negative for negative. Evil for evil, good for good. This is what we're discussing, that is what the legacy means. Now, I'm going to give a few examples. I'm going to give you a small plan of how you can establish a legacy. How I can establish a legacy. Because that's not the smart person will do. Do I want to live in this world? Do what I do, and then when I die, my account is done. Whatever good I've done, alhamdulillah, whatever sins I've done, may Allah forgive me. Or do you want to be the person who, it does not matter when I die, but my account of good deeds is ticking every day. Whether I die tomorrow, or I died 100 years ago, or I died 1,000 years ago, I left an impression on people, a good impression, which I'm still benefiting that afterlife. I'm sure all of us should say, I want to be the second person. I want to leave an impression. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to us in this Quran, we as Muslims, we have been given what we need to succeed in this life and the next. And every human being, young as you are today, old as you are today, for those who are old, you need a role model. You need someone to look up to. That is how we're created. Some of us as young people, when we forget that, or we don't know that, maybe we innocently don't know that, that's when we go astray. We're not very good Muslims, because you take wrong role models. You take after wrong people. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it very clearly in the Quran, that the prophets which He sent, they were humans like me and you. They had to eat, they had to sleep, they had families, they had wives, they had children. They had to earn a living to feed their families. But they were the best human beings in terms of being role models. We should follow them. فَبِهُدَاهُ مُقْتَدِهِ. By their guidance, you should guide yourself. From Adam alayhi salam to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. There's role models for you already, they exist. And that is what we're going to take. A few examples. Now the best examples you can have, and it's a point you always mention, if I was to ask you, who's the best human being ever? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, undoubtedly, right or wrong, in every aspect of life, as a husband, as a father, as a military strategist, as a leader, as a friend, nobody can touch him. Do we agree on that? Before I continue, either you agree or you disagree. If you disagree, you can go home now. You better agree, so I can continue. You agree? Now imagine Allah gives a command to the best human being and says to him, there's a man you should follow. There's a human being you should take as your role model. What do you think about that person? He has to be special. And that is Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Allah says to His Prophet alayhi salam, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and us, His followers, ثُمَّ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ نِتَّبِعْ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا. And then we have revealed to you, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and your followers. It's a verse of the Quran you read until the day of judgment. We have revealed to you and your followers that you should take the way of Ibrahim. You should follow him. shows that that man was special. Why was it special? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He defines it. Allah says, Inna Ibrahim kana ummatan qanitan. Indeed, Ibrahim, he was a shining bright star, a role model by himself. Because he was qanitan. He was someone who used to submit to his Lord. Allah then He described him. That's not our part today. So we are going to look at Ibrahim alayhi salam. How did this man leave a legacy such that the greatest prophet is told follow him? Number one, if you go and look into the Quran, you will see that every dua Ibrahim alayhi salam used to make for his children, he never used the word what we call children today. He never said Baniya. Very rare. Most of the time, and that's not him, not even all of the prophets, they used to use the word Dhurriya. And the word Dhurriya does not translate to children, it translates to progeny. Because your children are your immediate children, who your wife bears. But your progeny are your children, Dhurriya, awlad of your children, and the children of your children, and the children of your children, to the end of the world. Ibrahim a.s. used to ask Allah for a legacy right away. Ya Rabb, don't just give me good children, give me children, and good children, and good children, and good children, and good children to the end. That is why after almost 3,000 years comes the greatest Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he says what? Ana da'wati Abi Ibrahim. I am the result, I am the legacy of the dua of my father Ibrahim alayhi salam. Now that's a legacy right there. You have to look far. Don't just look into yourself. Take it. Ibrahim alayhi salam, once he had done that, he was given a great task. He made sure that when he was blessed with a child, and the first child Ibrahim alayhi salam was blessed with was Ismail alayhi salam, and Ibrahim was 80 years old or almost there. Because he was too old, and the wife was too old. When she was given the news, she laughed, she said, how can I give birth? Impossible. But there's nothing impossible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Ibrahim alayhi salam, he put in enough work to make sure that these children of mine and the next child, they are my legacy. And that is why today, me and you, Allah commands us to follow Ibrahim alayhi salam. In every single aspect, we don't have enough time to do. We fast forward to the Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam. Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam, who was in the same situation like Ibrahim alayhi salam. He had reached an old age and Allah had not blessed him with a child. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah, Kafha ya ayn sad, dhikru rahmat rabbika abdahu Zakaria. This is a mention of the mercy of your Lord to his slave Zakaria. إِذْ نَادَ رَبَّهُ نِدَاءً خَفِيًّا. When he called on his Lord secretly, that's the best way to make du'as between you and Allah. قَالَ رَبِّ إِنِّي وَهَنَ الْعَظْمُ مِنِّي. He said, oh my Lord, I've become so old, my bones are weak. My hair has become gray. But I never give up in your dua. وَلَمْ أَكُنْ بِدُعَائِكَ رَبِّكَ شَقِيًّا. Then he said these words. He said, وَإِنِّي خِفْتُ الْمَوَالِيَ مِنْ وَرَائِي. I have a fear of my people once I die. I'm at the age I'm about to die. I carry this fear with me. I fear for my people. Because I'm a prophet, I'm their leader. I have no son, there's no other prophet. When I die, what is going to happen to my people? He's looking after his legacy. He didn't live selfishly. Alhamdulillah, I was a prophet, I was good, now I'm going to die, I'm going to Jannah. No. What is my legacy? That is why he was asking Allah for a child, for a son, to do what? So he can come and take care of his people also. In terms of deen and dunya, which is all based on two things. Because at the end of the day, we have to be practical. We're going to talk about a legacy, but how do you attain that legacy? Al-ilmu, knowledge, wal-huda, and guidance. You ask Allah for knowledge, but that's not enough, because you might have knowledge and then you don't act on it. Right or wrong? It's not going to help you. You ask Allah for knowledge, and then the guidance to practice that knowledge, so now you leave behind a legacy. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with a son who no human being before that had ever been called that name, and his name was Yahya alayhi salam. That's the legacy. That is what everyone should look at himself and herself. What am I leaving behind? I'm going to take your eyes off me for a minute, or a few seconds for that matter. Whether you're going to look on your right side, see all those shelves? Start with the right always. What do you see in those shelves? You see books. What do you see on the left? You see a lot of books. Those mandem, those people, they're all dead, most of them. But that is their legacy. That is legacy. They live forever. Those are the people who are living forever. And that is what the scholars of Islam always say. There's people who die and they die. And there's people who die and they're still alive. They left a legacy. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ, he showed us there's ways you can leave a legacy. It's not very difficult. It's not difficult. But you have to be sincere with yourself. Is that the goal you have? Do you want your account to tick? Do you want to go to Allah and you have these mountains of good deeds? Or you want to die and die, that's it. These were the people who had high ambitions. High ambitions. They said, I'm going to leave something behind. You have to be sincere with Allah. What do you want for yourself? And then number two, you have to get that knowledge and that guidance. And that is why we ask Allah every single day, you say, Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. Sirat al-mustaqim is good knowledge and good actions. Those are the three ingredients or the starting block of leaving a legacy. I'm going to repeat them for you. You have to be sincere. You have to be sincere. You have to be truthful with yourself. What do you want? You want to be that guy who left behind 10 albums of music. Yeah, they went platinum, all of them. But all of them are talking about killing and raping and stealing from people. And there's millions of people after you die, they're coming and listening to that and taking after you. You are carrying the sins of all those people. Or you want to be the guy who you taught your friend just how to make the dhikr after eating, just enough. And he's going to teach his friend and his children, and your account is going to tick forever. Or maybe you want to step it up more than that and say, you know what, I'm going to be part of the team which organizes an Islamic conference. I don't have knowledge, I'm not going to speak, it's not my place. You organizing that is your legacy. And I just want to briefly touch on this topic because I know the Sheikh is going to touch on this. The main problem we have, I'm speaking to you now, my brothers who are young, maybe the sisters who are young. You say, man, I got life in front of me. I got life. I'm still young. That's the stuff. The legacy stuff the Sheikh was talking about, man, that was nice. But that's for, the 30, 40-year-olds. Wrong. If you don't do it now, trust me, more likely than less you won't do it. He's going to talk about those young people who left a legacy which me and you today, you cannot be a Muslim without their legacy, by Allah's permission. Now those are the people who are role models. Those are the true rich people, rich in front of Allah. Think about it. How many young people like you do you know they're dead? That's life. That's normal. But today we want to ask the other question. What did they leave behind? All of us are going to die, by the way. Let that never get lost from your mind. What are you leaving behind? Are you a positive influence or you're a bad influence? And wherever it is, Allah is the best judge. Never. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they used to worship idols. You can't go worse than that, man. They used to kill their own baby girls because they said to have a girl is a shame. Yet, when Islam came, they changed. When they were old, let alone young, and they became the best Muslims. Maybe you can not even become like them. It's never late. Be sincere. Get proper knowledge and start working on it. I'll let the Shaykh speak now so we can all benefit, inshallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على عبده ورسوله نبينا وإمامنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. I'm grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowing me to come back to Ottawa a second time. Walillahi alhamd. The invitation, also the facilitation of my brothers for the sake of Allah, the Mighty and the Most High, my comrades, companions, colleagues, Sheikh Abu Umar, Hafidhahullah wa Wafaqah, Akhi Samir, East Umar, all of the brothers who set up the trip, who organized the trip, whether they're here in Toronto, or here in Ottawa, or in Toronto, or the United States, wherever they may be. And also all of the sisters who played any part or role in setting up the trip and facilitating the trip and making sure that we are taken care of to the best of their ability. Last but not least, the brothers and the sisters here at Masjid al-Rahmah, the Imam, the Sheikh of the Masjid, the administration of the Masjid, and all of the brothers and sisters here who, alhamdulillah, seems pretty clear and obvious to me, they do a very good job in maintaining the Masjid and upholding the Masjid. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to give them the success and continue to inspire them and to support them in doing and find an excellent job and allow them to do an even better job in the time. Obviously, those who are sitting in front of me, those who are listening and watching in different countries, different time zones, we thank you as well. And we sincerely appreciate you and respect you for your support as well. And of course, like I mentioned in my khutbah earlier, specifically addressing and talking to the youngsters, the young guys, people like you, and like you, nodding your head, people like you. I'm talking to everybody. But if I had to pick someone that I wish to address specifically, it will be you, somebody that's young. And there's several reasons behind that, So with that being said, Abu Umar, Hafidhahullah, he mentioned about leaving a legacy. And he was generous enough to recite some of the ayats of Allah Azza wa Jall's book upon us regarding the concept of a legacy and leaving it, or sometimes the legacy being left and you don't even realize it. You may not even realize it. In khayran fa khayr, wa in sharran fa shar. As he said, for good or for bad. You may be leaving a legacy of evil. You may not even realize it. That you're going to get punished for all of these sins that your little brother is going to do after you. And there lies no doubt, as the ulama of Islam say, هَذَا مِنْ شُؤْمِ الْمَعَاصِي. This is from the evil of badness. One may say the bad omens, quote unquote, of sin. That you made tawbah. You've rectified yourself. You no longer do those evil deeds. You're righteous. alhamdulillah. But then your mother, she calls you, or your grandmother calls you, little Abdurrahman, this was found in his room. And his teacher called me, and he got kicked out of school, and he got suspended, and I caught him with a girl, and Kevin. And you're saying, oh man, astaghfirullah. He got caught with that. And the first thing you think about, or you may not think about, is that he's doing it because you did it. Even though you stopped doing that. You're no longer into the haram stuff. But he saw you when you were doing it. He was watching and you didn't realize that he was watching. You thought you were sneaking in the house late, or you thought you had a passcode or lock on your phone, or you thought that he was too young to understand what's going on when your mother and your uncle, when they were going to visit you, wherever place that you weren't supposed to be. You thought that he wasn't old enough to understand, but he was. And now, unfortunately, he's following in your negative footsteps. He's following in your negative footsteps. And to make it even worse, little Abdurrahman, he may not be as tough as you are. So he may be, victimized. He may not be able to survive it like you did. Or even worse than that, he may be tougher than you. Or he may have that negative stigma of little brother. You're too young, you're too small, you're too this, get out of here, scram, get out of here. You're too young for this. So now he's going to go extra hard to prove that I'm not too young, I'm not too small, stop trying to play me. And he may go way beyond the limits that you went, just to prove that I'm not a little kid, and I can do it better than you did it. And you made tawbah for it. You regret it. And now your little brother, or your little cousin, or your little sister is following you in those negative footsteps. La shak, and I have them in short in the house. That just goes to show you the negativity of sin, and that it always leaves a bad stain. Even after tawbah. That was 20 years ago I was running around crazy in the streets. That was years ago when I had tattoos. That was years ago when I was in a club. That was years ago when I didn't do this. I stopped going outside the house like that years ago, and now we're hijab, we're in the club, I'm married with gloves. But your little sister, she's now following you in those footsteps. So that's supposed to show you the bitterness of the sin and the disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you may leave behind a legacy, you may not even realize it. And obviously in the positive sense, you may be leaving behind a legacy without realizing it. And this is something of advice that we always give to the younger brothers all of the time. When they're graduating from Medina, or they're still overseas in Medina. When we were studying in Medina, I want to start classes. Should I do classes? Should I answer people's questions? Should I do the khutbah? I'm a little insecure. There are people that are older than me. I don't know if my Arabic is good enough. They may make fun of me, but maybe you do it better, Mufti. I don't want to do it when you're there. And we say, no, start doing it right now. And if there was no other reason why you should teach and give back, the obligation of paying zakat was in, the sin of hoarding knowledge, all of that stuff. But if there was no reason except for the sheer fact that you do not know who's benefiting from you, and you do not know what legacy you're leaving behind, and anyone, and this is not bragging or boasting, but al-haqq, the truth is to be said, anyone who watches HadithDisciple live stream, Q&A marathon, you find questions coming from all over the world. This one is from Indonesia, this one is from Somalia, this one is from Germany, this place, that place, names of countries you never even heard of. And I can tell you personally, and obviously, Sahib al-Dar, the owner of the house knows what's in the house better than anybody else. When I started HadithDisciple, before it was HadithDisciple, we had no clue and no idea that it was going to reach the people that it's reaching on a daily basis as we speak right now. People all over the world in different time zones watching, benefiting, and learning. And we had no clue when we started it. So I can only speak to those brothers based off my experience, and sisters as well. Oh, I'm not good, my Arabic's not good, I can't give the halaqah, I can't talk, the sister's not going to listen to me, I'm not that righteous, I'm not a sheikha, I'm not. You don't know what you are. That's first and foremost. Secondly, you don't know who's going to learn, who's going to benefit, who's going to follow your footsteps in good. And this is from the beauty of the concept of a legacy. Is that forget about you trying to make a legacy and establish one, but oftentimes you establish a legacy without even realizing it. And people, they follow you in that good practice. Or, fortunately, they may follow you in that what? The negative practice. So with that being said, Abu Umar, he also mentioned the definition of a legacy. And I would like to add to that. A legacy, if you look at most dictionaries, most lexicons, legacy, in most cases, is always defined as something tangible. It's always defined as a piece of wealth or property that is left behind by way of a will. Way of a will. My legacy, I leave my money to you, I leave my jewelry to you, I leave my house, my cars, whatever you have to this one, that's a legacy. That's what the word actually means. And in 9 out of 10 cases, it's only used for something tangible and physical, material. And you'll find in some dictionaries and some books that the legacy can be something which is metaphysical. It doesn't have to be property or wealth that you own. And that is what was mentioned with regards to a legacy, a tradition, a culture, a practice. You inspire people and you strike in them the desire to follow your footsteps, in good or in bad. Whether you're talking about killing people and doing whatever you're doing, or whether you're talking about helping people and healing people, and the list goes on. And most of the things that we benefit from today, and we practice today in Western countries and Eastern countries, we're talking about Western countries, it's a legacy. The first people to do this were this civilization, and these people. And he was the first one who spoke up on this. And he was the first one who started dressing like this. And he was the first one who says, you should do it like that, so on and so forth. Legacy. So all of us benefit from legacies on a daily basis. So the question or the lecture is, how do you start a legacy? But before you even go that far, how can you leave a legacy if you're not even living yourself? You're barely doing what you're supposed to be doing yourself. You can't even help yourself. Who are you going to help? What legacy are you going to leave behind? And this goes back to what I just mentioned about you and little Abdurrahman, your little brother. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You don't respect your mother. You don't respect your father's rules. You don't follow the basic things in the household. And you're going to leave a legacy behind for your little brother? You're unfit. So one of the benefits of talking about a topic like this, leaving a legacy, is that oftentimes it reminds us of what we're doing wrong and our shortcomings. Because before I can even think about being a role model, I have to check myself. I have to make sure that I'm doing it the right way. Everyone understand this? I have to make sure that I'm on point before I even think about you. I don't care about you. Who are you? Why should I worry about leaving something for you and I messed up myself? So we need to be reminded of the virtue of a thing and the excellence of a thing to allow us to come back to the basic, simple concept of what type of person am I? Am I sincere? All of these people are watching videos and listening to me and benefiting, but am I sincere? Am I fearing Allah when it's just me, myself, and I? No one in the room but me and the angels. Am I fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before I can even think about a legacy? So that's very, very critical. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, as we all know, he mentioned what he called maratibu jihadun nafs. Levels of jihadun nafs, the levels of fighting oneself. The levels of fighting oneself. An obligation upon each and every single Muslim to fight him or herself. Think about that now, these words. Is that you have to be at war and at battle with your own self. And you, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, are supposed to win that battle. And you're supposed to try and strive to be the victor and not allowing your own nafs to be the victor over you. So Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he mentioned that the Muslim and the Muslimah, they have to fight themselves to do 4 things. The first is أن يجاهدها على تعلم العلم النافع. He has to fight himself to learn beneficial knowledge. I have to wake up to study. I have to go to sleep late at night if I really want to study. I have to spend some money. I have to go through some difficulties, some hardships. My parents say, don't study Islam. Be an engineer, be a doctor, be a pediatrician. And I know that I don't want to do those things. I want to learn the deen. I want to be an imam. I want to be the one doing the khutbah. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't care about the money that people make. That's not for me. But my parents, they say, you have to be a doctor. Who am I going to listen to? Am I going to fight my nafs? Or am I going to do what I feel like I need to do? And Ibn Qayyim, he mentioned that after you fight yourself to learn the beneficial ilm, because it takes jihad, knowledge doesn't come simply and easily. Knowledge does not come simply and easily. You may get it simply and easily. I asked him a question, he said it. MashaAllah, the khutbah was amazing, spellbinding. Tabarakallah. You see the finished product. You see the polished product. But you don't see the hours of reading and studying and memorizing and reviewing. You may get a 20-minute hadith explained in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You don't see me reading the explanation of hadith when we say in the car. 3 hours. I may read a hadith, study it for 3 hours, and you get the polished, finished product. Knowledge isn't simple. It takes hardship. And if you're not fighting yourself, then you won't be able to fulfill that. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah, he then says, and then the person, he must fight his nafs to implement that beneficial knowledge. Once more, he has to fight laziness. I know it's hard to do this, but I don't feel like staying away from it. It feels good, it's nice. I know it's obligatory for me to do this, but I don't feel like it. Why can't I be normal? Why can't I be average? Why can't I be like everyone else? Why do I have to stick out? I know it's hard to do that, but you have to fight yourself to implement the ilm that you have learned. Number 3, it's still not enough. You have to fight yourself to help out others and to call others. It's not enough for you to be the only one who makes budget in your household, and your parents or your children or your wife or your husband or your sons or stepsons are sleeping. It's not enough. You have not saved yourself. You shouldn't say, Alhamdulillah, I feel good, I got up and I prayed. It's not enough. And you didn't try to wake them up and shake them up and remind them, ittaqillah. You have to wake up. You cannot oversleep for Fajr. It's not okay. It's not a small, simple thing, they're small. No, he's 15 years old. She's 16 years old. She's 12 years old. She has to wake up. She has to make Fajr on time. Me and my son have to both go to the masjid, and not just me. I leave my son at home. No, he has to come too. And if I don't strive and try, then I have taught myself. Last but not least, Ibn Qayyim mentions he must fight him or herself to bear the hardships and the difficulties upon calling others. Because when I told my son to wake up, he says, I don't feel like waking up. I asked my wife to do something, she says, no. I tell my neighbor, I say, fear Allah, that's haram. She says, get out of here. You're an extremist. You're a Wahhabi. You're down with this group. You're Kevin. People that make fun of you. They ridicule you. Get out of here. What can you tell me? You're young. You're a boy. You don't have a beard on your face. What can you tell me? My grandfather is a Muslim from my country. You don't know Islam? So many Muslims have the attitude in the United States. Canada, I don't know. But in the United States, you may get in a cab, you may go into an Uber, you may go into a store, and somebody may approach you. You don't even say anything to them. They approach you. And they say, brother, you don't have to dress like this. You know, my parents are Muslims, my grandfather's a Muslim. You don't understand Islam. And they may mock you and ridicule and make fun of you. And you can't quit and you can't give up. So when you have these 4 things done, you have successfully jahadta nafsaka. You have fought yourself. And it's not a day and then a day off. There's 24 hours, 7 days a week. You're always in a constant state of perpetual war with your nafs. And the moment you let your guard down and you slip up, you become lazy, the shaitan will jump on you. Now this is in the book Zad al-Ma'ad. Ibn Qayyim mentions these 4 things. In another book, Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions this concept with a different terminology. And that is Madarij al-Salikin. In the introduction of Madarij al-Salikin, he mentions Takmeelul insani nafsahu wa Takmeelul insan li ghayrihi. Is to perfect yourself and perfect others. To perfect yourself and to perfect others. And this is the concept of a legacy. You can't leave a legacy if you yourself have gaping wounds in your spiritual frame. You can't help nobody. You can't leave nothing behind and you're not doing it right yourself. So the idea of aspiring to leave a legacy is a major means of you aspiring to complete yourself. And what's the finished, final product of all of this? Is the book that we all learn and we all memorize as Tulab al-Ilm. اعلم رحمك الله أنه يجب علينا تعلم 4 مسائل. الأولى العلم ومعرفة الله ومعرفة النبي ومعرفة دين الإسلام بالأدلة. الثانية العمل به. الثالثة الدعوة إليه. الرابعة الصبر على الأذى فيه. والدليل قوله تعالى بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. قال الشافعي رحمه الله تعالى لو ما أنزل الله حجة على خلقه إلى هذه السورة لكفته. The first thing that you learn as a serious student of knowledge is al-usul al-thalath, the 3 fundamental principles, in which Ibn Abdul Wahhab said, "I'lam." Know for sure, wake up. I'lam. Open your eyes. May Allah have mercy on you. Knowledge is based off of mercy, not harshness. The default of ilm is supposed to be soft and not hard. That's the asl. There are 4 things that we must learn and do. Ibn Abdul Wahhab mentioned. Ibn Abdul Wahhab, he got these 4 points from no other place except for Ibn al-Qayyim. Except for Ibn al-Qayyim. But he put it in his own style. in his own way. He summarized it, he condensed it, and he put his own stamp on it, his own legacy. But when you read the books of Ibn Abdul Wahhab, you'll see the tremendous influence of Ibn al-Qayyim upon the books of Ibn Abdul Wahhab. There's no doubt about that. I have never met Ibn Abdul Wahhab, but I have no doubt that he spent a great deal of his time, day and night, reading Ibn al-Qayyim's books, let alone Ibn Taymiyyah's books. So the concept is, this is the foundation of making a legacy, is that you have to learn, you have to practice, you have to call others, and most importantly, you got to be patient, because Rome was not built overnight. And when you talk about legacy, those mushrikun, because they were idol worshippers, idolaters, but where would Western civilization be today if it wasn't for Rome? Where would it be? With the foods that you eat, the salads that you have, the sports that you play, the stadiums that you go in, the politics, 9 out of 10 of that stuff is based off of Rome. There's no doubt they left a legacy, good or bad. Al-Muhim is that they left a legacy, and that legacy was not built overnight. Another point that I want to reflect on that I want to mention was about people who think that the legacy is only for older people. It's only for, old heads, as we say, old timers. People that are old and decrepit, about to die on their last legs, on canes and crutches. As for me, my skin isn't wrinkled. I don't have a big belly. I'm not sick. I don't have diabetes. I'm not dying. Why do I even have to start to think about a legacy? That's wrong. And when we look at the worldly life, that's not how things work. The most popular, or one of the most popular sports in Canada, in the world, let alone in Canada, of course, is ice hockey. Ice hockey. And then the best teams with the most Stanley Cups are right here in Canada, whether it's the Montreal Canadiens or the Maple Leafs, and there are many, many other teams that have the most Stanley Cups right here in Canada. And one of the greatest players in hockey, which not necessarily from Canada, whether he was, whether he wasn't, but the concept of the legacy and the mark that he left was someone who started his legacy at a very young age. If I told you that this great hockey player started playing when he was 6, which is young to play a sport, especially a brutal sport like ice hockey, a sport that takes so much skill and dexterity. You're moving on skates with a small black puck. That's not easy. 6 years old is young, 10 years old is young. I started playing hockey when I was 10, 12, and then became a great, famous hockey player. But this hockey player started playing at the age of 2. 2 years old in the living room with a ball and a small stick. And that was the beginning of his legacy. None other than Wayne Gretzky, the one they call the Great One. That's his name. That's his laqab, the Great One. So do you think he became Wayne Gretzky overnight? You think he became Wayne Gretzky in college? You think he became Wayne Gretzky when he was first drafted? Of course not. He had a vision, he had ambitions, he had aspirations, no doubt, from that young age. And only Allah knows what his parents said when they were having him. Only Allah knows. They could have made dua for him. They could have prayed to Allah, the Creator, to make our son great. You don't think his father, his mother, his uncle, you don't think they instilled it in him as a young boy that you have talent and one day you're going to be something special? He had to believe in that in order to achieve that legacy. So the point, Shahid Ikhwani, the point from this is a worldly example. Mathal dunyawi, a worldly example, which the youth, I'm sure, you may be able to relate to if I better than said Bukhari or Ahmed or so on and so on. Unfortunately, the point is that the legacy of Wayne Gretzky, it was not made overnight. Nor did he think about his legacy when he became older and when he was retiring and the people were calling him the great one, the great scorer, the great this. No. That legacy started at an early age. So whatever you want to build good of the deen, first and foremost, of course, and of the dunya, you got to start thinking about it now, because it may take 20 years. It may take 30 years. It may take millions of dollars. It may take great sacrifice. And you can't do that overnight. You can't do that what? You can't do that overnight. Another point, inshallah ta'ala, reflection based off of Abu Umar's talk. Those ayat that he mentioned, and obviously he wasn't trying to mention all of them because there are many others in the Quran. From them is what Allah Azza wa Jalla tells us, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu taqullah, wal tanzur nafsun ma qaddamat li ghadin, wattaqullaha inna Allaha khabirun bima ta'malun. Allah says, oh you who believe, oh Muslims, ittaqullah, be mindful of Allah. وَلْتَنْظُرْ نَفْسٌ مَا قَدَّمَتْ لِغَدٍ. وَمِن تَقْوَى اللَّهِ هَذَا الشَّيْء الجملة الثانية. From the fear of Allah is for a nafs, a soul, to look مَا قَدَّمَتْ, that which it puts forth, لِغَدٍ, for tomorrow. That which the soul has put forth, your own good deeds, your own children, your own family, your own neighbors, your own students. How have you influenced others? And how, most importantly, have you influenced your own nafs? And Allah Azza wa Jalla, He repeats it again. He says, in fear Allah, لماذا نتقي? Why should we fear Allah Azza wa Jalla? Because لأن الله خبير بما تعملون. Allah is all aware of that which you do. That's why. And obviously, if Allah is all aware, there's going to be a reward. Because you may do something that your parents don't know about. I have to be afraid of my parents because they'll never find out. They'll never find out what I'm doing, sneaking. They won't know. My mother, she hasn't a clue what I'm doing. My father doesn't have a clue what I'm doing. I'm good at lying and stealing or hiding or whatever I'm good at. So I don't have to fear them. And this is the whole concept of righteous deeds based off of one's aqidah. If we know that Allah Azza wa Jal is khabirun, He knows what we're doing, then obviously it has to lead to us realizing that we're going to be taken into account. And that's why people never steal inside of banks. There is no clerk or no employee inside of a bank that's caught stealing because there are too many cameras. And everybody knows that there are tons of cameras. So you'd be a fool to take some money, and you're counting the money. You'd be a total idiot and a moron. And that's what Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, Ta'ala, said once when he was admonishing some of the Muslims during his time. And he said that we're either disbelievers or total fools and imbeciles, total idiots. All we have the ma'na. He says if we do these deeds and we don't believe that Allah is going to take us to account, and then He knows that obviously the takdeeb, الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ لَيْسَ بِمُؤْمِنٍ, is not a believer. And if we know that we're going to be taken into account, and Allah sees, and Allah hears, and Allah is khabirun bima ta'malun, and we still do it, then that proves that we are truly stupid. I know that there's a camera dead smack in front of my face as I'm speaking. I know I'm live right now as I'm speaking, and I'm going to do something crazy. It's like, this guy's lost his mind. So this is a simple concept if you just think about. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He knows what we do, but that has, unfortunately, no effect on our deeds. And no effects on us having a concept of legacies. What are we going to leave when we go behind? And alhamdulillah, there's some of us who do aspire to leave a legacy, but they may be mistaken in that legacy. The legacy, la yatajawaz, it doesn't go beyond the dunya. I want to make sure that my sons have good education. My daughters are educated. I want to make sure that I have money left behind. I have investments. I have money that I have saved up. I have property that I've purchased. And that's a good thing. As the Prophet ﷺ said to Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas when he wanted to give all of his wealth, when he was sick, and the Prophet visited him in Mecca, and he wanted to give at the Saddaq, he said, should I give all of my wealth? The Prophet said, no. Half of it, he says, الثلث والثلث كثير وفي رواية كبير. A third, and a third of it is a lot. إنك, he says, and for you, انتظر ورثتك أغنياء. He says, for you to leave your relatives, for you to leave your people that are going to inherit from you, free without begging for money, that's better than anything else. So that's a good thing to be financially stable. Of course, we're not against that. And that's a good thing to be financially responsible. We're not against that. But the legacy should go beyond that. It should go what? It should go beyond that. And that is the legacy of what to do with that money. That is the legacy of taking care of that money. It's not the dunya. Don't you know how fast money goes? That's why athletes and musicians and famous rich people, oftentimes they become broke before their career is even over. They're broke. He got millions of dollars for this contract. Yeah, how much money has he paid the agent? How much money for this and for that? And you know how much money musicians really make? You aspire to be this famous singer or dancer or rapper. If you knew one of the most successful recording artists in the history of music, I'm not going to mention her name right now, one of the most successful, not the, but one of the most, she summed up the whole entire music industry. She says that the music industry is a cesspool, a pool of cess. It's a cesspool. It's not dirty. There are dirty people. They say cesspool. If you knew the sneaky, dirty, conniving, filthy people that you have to deal with. And you think that they're making all of that money, but in actuality, they're oftentimes broke. Why are they broke? Let's say if they get $1 million, they're not getting $1 million. They're only getting a small slice of that million. The studio, the engineer, the producer, there's royalties, the list goes on. Don't forget all of that. Even if a person does have $1 million or $5 million or $20 million, do you know how fast money goes? How much money is spent on one party? How much money is spent on one house? How much money is spent on one car? How much money is spent on one piece of jewelry? How much money is spent on a lawsuit? You sampled my record without getting sample clearances. And you didn't think that they would find out. You know how much money they sue you for one record? So money doesn't last. Money doesn't last. If you don't look after the money, and if you don't allow the money to grow, if you don't protect it from loss and invest in it, it will go away like that. And that is why many celebrities, as we speak, are broke. They have no money whatsoever. And you may think that you're broke or you don't make that much money. I live from check to check, or I'm middle class, or I'm average. You may have more money in your account, in your pocket than they have. And he's on TV. And he's signing people's autographs. And that's because money doesn't grow by itself. So just stop and think about that now. Even pertaining to the worldly life, you have to do it a proper way. Let alone the deen. When I go, what am I going to leave behind for my children? What challenges have I prepared them for? How have I taught my son to be a grown man? My son is 18 years old, 19 years old, and he has no desire to get married. If he wants to get married, what can he do for a wife? What can he do for a woman? I haven't raised a son. He's still a boy. You failed. You've messed up. Your son is 25 years old, and he has no manhood training. He can't do anything of deen and dunya. You failed as a father. So we have to be mindful of these things, let alone deen and ilm. Who's going to make dua for you in your grave? The person that takes your money and runs with it, or the one whom you taught the Quran? The one whom you taught to the masjid, brought to the masjid. And he was running around in the masjid and playing around in the masjid. And many people, they get upset at this, of children playing in the masjid. They say children shouldn't play in the masjid. Children shouldn't come in the masjid. That's khilaf al-sunnah. That's against the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. They jumped on his Hassan and Hussein. And the Prophet ﷺ in Jumu'ah. They jumped on his back while he's delivering the message to the people. He stopped his khutbah. He didn't say, sit down Hassan, go away Hussein, go back to your mothers. The sunnah is to bring the children in the masjid and allow them to feel comfortable in the masjid. Obviously, you educate them, you teach them. You're older now, you can't run crazy. But never ever banish and look at the benefit of Hassan and Hussein. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he put in the care, the tender care, the love, the attention, and he taught them and he trained them. And that is something I think Abu Umar touched on briefly, but I believe he wants to touch on more. And that was what? The ingredients of the legacy. How the legacy comes. So with that being said, I think that's more than enough for those who want to get the point and those who have the ability and want to. Allah Azza wa Jalla is the one whom we ask and we beg to allow us to implement what we have said. And Allah Azza wa Jalla is the one whom we ask and we beg to forgive us of all of our sins and to have mercy upon our poor souls and to make us of those who will be a part of some type of legacy, big or small, following others or our own legacy. صلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا وإمامنا محمد.
To finish off, just very quickly, 5 minutes, and then we're going to open the floor for questions. Again, briefly. The Prophet ﷺ, he defined to us some of the actions you can leave behind, of which can be part of your legacy, In the famous hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, إذا مات ابن آدم انقطع عمله إلا من ثلاث. Once the son of Adam dies, all of his actions, they're cut off, like we said. Once you die, you die. But there's some people that continue to live. Their account of good actions is continuing. Number one, he said, إلا من ثلاث صدقة جارية, a continuous charity. Because there's two types of charity. There's charity you give and it's good. They give it to you, Muslim, non-Muslim, those who are close to you, those who are not close to you, and it's better to give a charity to those who are your relatives. But any charity is good. But there's some charity you give and it ends there. After this lecture, I take you or you and we go for dinner. It's on me. Always on me. And that's good. Allah might reward me for that if my intention is good. But it ends there. But the sadaqatun jariyah, it's things which are continuous. Something like this. The fact that I can speak to you, the Shaykh can speak to you, or any other person you're going to learn from. Or let's just make it something tangible. You say to me, you know what, I lost my copy of the Quran, the Mus'haf, I need one. I go buy a copy of the Quran, maybe I have two at home, and I give you one. Something simple. An Islamic book. You know, this book is good, read. That is continuous charity. Why? Because every time you are going to reuse that book, or you pass it, or you benefited from it and you practice something in that book or the Quran which you're going to read, my account continues. The Prophet ﷺ made it very clear. In another hadith he said, a tree which you plant, and you know a tree which is planted takes years for it to become a tree actually. And after years, whether you're alive or not, people come and take shade under the tree. Or maybe there's fruits on the tree which people come and eat and benefit. People or animals, by the way. The Prophet ﷺ made it that general. لِكُلِّ كَبِدٍ رَطْبٍ. Even animals who benefit from that tree, you get rewards. That's your legacy. You know, there's billions of people who are struggling just to have water. They don't have water in their homes. You give your $5, $10, $20, $200, $1,000, $2,000 for someone to dig a well somewhere in another part of the world. Now that is sadaqatun jariyah. That is continuous charity. And you can analogize on that. You do charity which it is continuous after you. Or number two, the Prophet ﷺ said, or you leave behind knowledge which people are going to be benefiting from. It's a lecture, it's a book, it's a khutbah, it's just the basic factor of you being a friend to your friend, a father to your child, a husband to your wife to a husband. You advise each other to go. You say, you know what, that's not how you make ruku'. This is how you make ruku'. Your hands have to be holding your knees, and your hands have to be outside your body, and make sure your back is flat. And when you ruku', you say, Subhana Rabbil Azim, at least 3 times. Every single day that person, man or woman, is going to pray, your reward is counted. Knowledge that you left behind. And on that part, I'm mentioning again, maybe most of us will say, you know what, I'm not a sheikh, I can't teach. You don't have to have a table and microphones in front of you. The little thing which you know very well, you learn from someone you trust, share that with your friend. That is what knowledge is. That is how you preach what is good. That is how you build your legacy. That is how you build your legacy. Or maybe I can't do da'wah. I know I have my friends, Mike, John, whoever it is. You know, I want them to become Muslim, but I can't give da'wah. You can pick up a brochure, a pamphlet about Islam and pass it to Mike and John. That is your legacy if they become Muslim tomorrow. You don't have to speak. Or maybe I'm just going to act around people with the best character. I'm going to perfect my character according to how the best human being, the Prophet ﷺ, lived. And I'm going to make sure it's going to rub off people. I'm going to leave an impression on everyone I come about. Muslim, non-Muslim, it doesn't matter. When I leave, they're going to say, man, that guy, he has proper character. That is your legacy. Knowledge that you leave behind. Yeah, I know the Sheikh has to go there and preach and teach, but how's the Sheikh getting there? Let me drive the Sheikh. That's my legacy. Yeah, he's going to teach, but I took him there. Whatever he teaches and everyone benefits and practices to the end of the world, benefit is always there because you're the one who made it happen. I'm the one who's going to make that post or that flyer for that event so that people can come and benefit from the Sheikh. Your legacy. And number 3, the Prophet ﷺ said, أو علم ينتفع به. Afwan, or he said, أو ولد صالح يدعو له. Or you leave behind a child, boy or girl, it doesn't matter. The more the better, the more the merrier. Prophet ﷺ said, تكاثروا. Get married, get a lot of children, according to your situation. فإني مباهٍ بكم يوم القيامة. فإني مباهٍ بكم الأمم يوم القيامة. On the day of judgment, I'm going to brag. Let's not just look at that now. You should know, as a parent, and you who are young today say, Sheikh, I'm not there yet. I'm not even thinking of marriage. One day you'll be. Your marriage is part of your legacy. It should be part of your legacy. This child of mine will have now 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. Imagine you taught your own child Surah Al-Fatiha. Just Fatiha. Everybody here knows Surah Al-Fatiha. For how many years, according to how Allah is going to give the age of your child? How many years is your child going to live? The median age, average age of this ummah, the Prophet ﷺ said is between 60 and 70. 63, 64, that's the median age. Let's say your child lives to 63. For 63 years, from the time they became adults, which is 12, 13, 14, they've been praying, and now your account has been written. For 50 years, they pray Salah every single day. When they read that Fatiha, that's your account. Speaking to the fathers now, the fathers of tomorrow. Why does it have to be that even Surah Al-Fatiha you have to send your child to the Muallim, the Sheikh in the masjid? What is wrong with you? Why aren't you thinking legacy? Allah told you to follow Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam invested in his children first. That is your legacy, it's just Al-Fatiha. And the sky's the limit, as they say. Sit your child down. You're going to memorize the Quran, Usul al-Fiqh, Usul al-Hadith, proper Aqidah. You're going to get it. Because I'm leaving my legacy on you. We just finished Jum'ah, Friday, the day of Friday. On the day of Friday, we read what surah? Surah Al-Kahf. Surah Al-Kahf has how many stories? 4 stories. The most famous story, one of the most famous stories, the last one is about who? Prophet Musa alayhi salam, right? Prophet Musa alayhi salam, the story with Khidr, also called Khidr. What happened? You know the events which happened. They went on the sheep and they broke the sheep in the ocean, in the lake, and then he explained, and then they saw what? They went to a village and they saw a wall is about to fall down, and Khidr repaired the wall. He made it proper straight. Musa said, you know what? We could have asked for a reward for that. We've been traveling all these days. And then Khidr, he explained. As for the wall, it was the property of 2 young orphans. 2 young orphans, meaning their father had passed away. And in that property, their father had left kanz, treasure, meaning a lot of wealth. Allah sent me to repair that wall so that the treasure of the orphans can be preserved and secured. You know why? What did Khidr say after that? What is the reason Allah is protecting the wealth of these orphans? وَكَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صَالِحًا. His father who died, he used to be a righteous man. And Allah protected his children because the father was good. What kind of father me and you going to be? Why aren't we thinking like that? Let me leave a legacy. I don't even have to do so much. He did not mention that the father, he used to preach or teach. No. He was just a good, righteous Muslim. And Allah protected his children after he died so many years. Allah brought someone who never knew the children, Prophet Musa a.s. al-Khadr, who protected the treasure for them. That's a legacy. So your children talked about Prophet Ibrahim a.s., Prophet Zakaria a.s. That is your legacy. Leaving behind waladun salih, righteous child who's going to make dua for you. And in fact, it's broader than that, and that's the beauty of being a Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ said, every good action you do as a Muslim, you young man, we old people, I'm now in the old people group, I'm not young anymore. I got this epiphany this week actually. I just realized I'm not young like you anymore. I look young, Habib, but I'm not young. Do you know that Islamically, every good action you do, your father and your mother, their record counts. Every salah you pray, every charity you give, you sitting in a majlis like this, a halaqah like this, which is one of the best actions you can do in Islam, your parents are getting a reward, whether they're dead or alive. And that is how we say, we always talk, even marriage in Islam is a big thing. It's not just here, I'm going to have some warmth in minus 22 degrees weather or 26, minus 26. That's good. That's one of the benefits of getting married. Of course, but it's greater than that. Whatever children I have, whatever good deeds they do, I am benefiting also. How can it get better than that? How can it get better than that? So, the point here, guys, today, everyone should think about himself and herself. You gotta live forever. That's the motto. That's my WhatsApp status, whatever you call it. You've seen it. What does it say? Live forever. You know what that means? It means a legacy. Don't just die and die. I told you today too, this is the third time. Don't just die and die. Die and you're still alive because you left a lot for people behind. Live forever. Bukhari, Muslim, and all those guys who wrote those books and left the knowledge which we have today. They are living forever, man. The prophets of Allah, they are living forever. I think this is more than enough today. I just have something to say very quickly. Like I said, this is the beginning of the 3-day event we're going to have. Tomorrow, inshallah, is at Ottawa University, room 202, Montpetit Hall. You know, just 5 minutes of questions. You have a question? Sorry? The lecture I did today was about your legacy. Oh, it's not related. No, let's just stick to the topic.
Afterwards, inshallah.
If you have a question about what we talked about today, Simon, maybe you want to go outside there. Maybe you want to go. Yeah, for now. If you didn't register before, just come tomorrow. If there's a spot, there's a spot. Otherwise, what can we do? Right? If there's no questions, then inshallah we'll see you tomorrow. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakumullahu khairan wa assalamu alaykum.
Brothers, man, look.